You are not content with the stories, so I was obliged to come. Be my victim. Be my victim. I am the writing on the wall, the whisper in the classroom. Without these things, I am nothing. So now I must shed innocent blood.
Tony Todd is one of the most iconic actors in horror. There's no mistaking him when he's on the screen. While he is best known for his role in Candyman in 1992, Tony Todd has graced the screen and the stage many times before and after its release. In this video, we're going to discuss the evolution of Tony Todd, more of his iconic horror roles, and how he has contributed to the horror genre over the past 30 years. He found his passion for performing after reading the script for Shakespeare's Tempest. After high school, he attended the University of Connecticut, but according to an interview with Horror News in 2011, he talked about how he dropped out because they only did musical theater. For a few years, he found himself involved in the street and underground theater, some with Sam Shepard, the well-known playwright, director, and actor. He eventually got a break and was accepted into the renowned Eugene O'Neill National Theater Institute. From the theater to the big screen, Tony Todd was 32 years old when he landed his debut role in a film titled Sleepwalk in 1986. Since then, he's appeared in over 200 movies and shows, which according to Blavity, puts him as the only black actor with that many credits. His work is extremely diverse with roles on crime TV shows to voice work in video games for the character Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
We are Venom.
While we know Tony Todd's contribution to film and TV is versatile, I mean, even he was quoted once saying, "My career is so much deeper than just horror." We'll only be focusing on his contributions to horror in this video, so let's get into it. Tony Todd's first horror film role was in Night of the Living Dead in 1990. Now, this was not only his first role in a horror movie, it was actually his first leading role in any movie.
Repeating this advisory number 9 from the Office of Emergency Preparedness dated 11 p.m. August 23rd, 1989. It has been confirmed that the bodies of the dead are being reactivated by forces as yet unknown.
Got this right.
These reactivated bodies are weak and uncoordinated.
In an interview that he did with Fangoria back in 2015, he talked about how the original movie inspired him, mainly by Dwayne Jones, and the thought of seeing a black man in a lead role without any reference in his surroundings about the fact that he was black. Todd's role as Ben is not talked about enough, and honestly, neither is the movie. Tom Savini's remake is often overshadowed by the original, but Tony Todd's role is one worth noting. He actually beat out some big contenders such as Lawrence Fishburne, Ving Rhames, and Eric Lassalle for this role, and he bodied it, man. Todd's portrayal of Ben goes against stereotypical portrayals of black men, as he was someone who was sensitive, soft-spoken, and upbeat in the face of the traumatic experience that he was in. In 1992, he appeared in a small horror film called Voodoo Dawn, where he played a voodoo priest. That same year, he took on his next major role as the infamous Candyman. Candyman truly solidified Tony Todd as one of the most iconic horror actors, and Candyman himself is an iconic horror character, due to Todd's amazing portrayal of the character which has withstood the test of time. I believe that is because while Candyman was created by Clive Barker, Tony Todd gave us Daniel Robitaille. When the director Bernard Rose told Tony to come up with some sort of backstory to help him connect with his character, he came up with the history of what made him into Candyman. With Tony Todd's portrayal, Candyman is provocative, alluring, and mesmerizing. He understands what it means to bring a character to life from a page when he is given the room to flex his creativity and prowess. The next role he took was as Grange in 1994's The Crow. Grange, a gangster, is a henchman of the main villain Top Dollar. However, in classic Tony Todd character style, Grange is the one who discovers that the Crow is the source of hero Eric Draven's powers. The Crow has come to be an iconic film in its own right, and if you're unaware, we'll actually begin a remake this summer. In 1995, he played Candyman again in a film called Candyman: Farewell to the Flesh, which gave us more of a backstory for Candyman, followed by a role in a Wes Craven film called Wishmaster in 1997. Now, all through the 90s, man, Tony Todd was working. So when he wasn't doing a horror film that I mentioned, he was doing romances, thrillers, dramas, and appearing on TV shows such as Star Trek: The Next Generation as Worf's younger brother, Kern. In 1999, he starred in the third and final film in the Candyman franchise, Candyman: Day of the Dead. While the second film was somewhat successful, this one was far from it, and ultimately killed off the franchise. Then, in 2000, he appeared in one of our favorite horror franchises, Final Destination, as Bloodworth.
The risk of cheating the plan, of disrespecting the design, could incite a fury that could terrorize even the Grim Reaper. And you don't even want to fuck with that, Mac Daddy.
Okay then. Well, yeah. I'm sorry we broke in and.
No harm, no foul. I'll see you soon.
Bloodworth's character is often labeled as the controversial trope of the magical black character. Think Dick Hallorann in The Shining, for example. The magical black character, a token black mystic who uses their special magical knowledge to aid the story's white protagonists. But Bloodworth has become a very notable character during the franchise and is an important part of the overall story.
You have to follow the signs, Kimberly.
How do you know my name?
After the second installment in the Final Destination franchise, he was in a number of horror films from 2006 to 2009. Some of those included Hatchet from 2006, that he starred in alongside Robert Englund, Shadow Puppets from 2007, and Dark Real in 2008. It wasn't until 2011 that we see him in another Final Destination film, Final Destination 5. Tony Todd was glad to reprise his role as Bloodworth, and it's been confirmed that he will once again take on this role in the upcoming Final Destination 6.
I just clean up after the game is over.
According to an article from Comic Book Resources, the new sequel will be digging into Bloodworth's backstory, including a flashback to his childhood that reveals more about his connection to death. After Final Destination 5, he appeared in small films until 2015 when he took on the role of Ben yet again in the motion capture animated film Night of the Living Dead, Darkest Dawn. There are some differences in this remake and the previous films of the same name, one being that the character Ben is given a backstory, but it took away much of the social commentary that made Night of the Living Dead what it was. This film was not well received for various reasons, and a lot of people questioned the purpose behind creating it in the first place. Outside of that, Tony Todd still delivered a great performance. Now look, Tony Todd, man, he still continues to show up. In 2018, he took on the role of the Barker in Hellfest, which I enjoyed. In 2020, he played William in Tales from the Hood 3. In 2021, he joined the cast of the Candyman remake, which was written by Nia DaCosta, whom he stated brings a femininity to the darkness of Candyman. He was only in the film for a few moments, but it was something he was honored to be a part of. In an interview with New York Times, he shared, "When I started in this business, I would show up on set, and not only would I be the only black actor, I would be the only black person. Now that's changed. Just the joy that occurred, finally being allowed to the dance." I feel like this really puts into perspective the impact that he's had on the industry, but especially for people of color in this genre. He was once the only one, and he's opened up the doors to allow people to follow in his footsteps. Since then, we've seen him in other indie film horror projects, such as Devil Row in 2023, and as I mentioned earlier, we will see him again in Final Destination 6. And even then, I'm sure this won't be the end for Tony Todd, and we'll see him in many more films to come. The fact that, with all the films we discussed, that this is only a taste of what he has done says something about the work of Tony Todd and the work he's put in as an actor. He's received a nomination for Best Actor for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards back in 1992 for Candyman, and nominated Best Villain in a Movie in 2022 for Candyman 2021. But he's deserving of so much more. While I don't think he's ever had another role as iconic as Candyman, that does not in any way take away from, what he has accomplished as an actor over the years. Tony Todd is an amazing actor, and he's given horror an amazing villain. But what he's given to black horror actors, screenwriters, directors, author, etc. is well beyond Candyman. He's a trailblazer who paved the way and continues to give us the roadmap to being authentically you, no matter what obstacles you face. Let us know down in the comments what is your favorite Tony Todd role, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you want to see more like it. And as always, subscribe to join in on the discussion of all things horror. Until next time, peace. Be my subscriber.
At the end of the day, I'd rather somebody know me for something or not know me for anything, and I'd be stuck in some factory doing something I hated. I love what I do. I love this business.